Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. This is Straight Facts Commentary where I give you my unpopular opinions in everything pop culture. So please stick around and subscribe for more. Hey y'all, I'm back again with another video, and in today's video, you see the title, you've seen it, we're going to be talking about music, kind of like we always do. So if you're interested in that, female rap, pop, conspiracy theories, trending topics, my unpopular opinions, whatever I feel like getting into for real, then go on ahead and subscribe, and let's get into it. Also, we are almost at 5K, y'all, so go on ahead and subscribe for that Q&A, and let's get into it. Okay, guys, so this is like a rant and ramble style video. I'm just yapping over here, giving my opinion. So if you're interested in that, then continue on with me. But basically, yeah, like the title said, like mainstream music is mid. It's very mid, and I'm sure you guys knew that already. And let me start by saying this also. I don't mean all mainstream music, like every song that's come out in the last few years is like awful. No, that's definitely not true. Like I've had like my solid mainstream music albums and singles. Like for example, just to name a few, like Cowboy Carter came out. That wasn't a mid album. It wasn't terrible. It was not awful. Billie Eilish's album, Ariana Grande's album. Like, no. Not every single album or every single to come out recently is god awful. But a lot of the music outside of like a select handful of albums and singles are just mid, and it's frustrating because it's coming from people who have given like exceptionally good work in the past, and that's really the issue for me. It's like everybody is depreciating in music value. Everybody is getting worse. And it's like from people who, in my opinion, who have put out good music in the past for the most part, like people who I'm like expecting a little bit more from, but yet it just doesn't land for me. And maybe I'm a little bit like particular. Like some people say I'm a harsh judge when it comes to music and things like that. So maybe it's just me, but I feel as though like music is just like, okay. So firstly, who I want to talk about is Ice Spice. I mean, Ice Spice is not really a good example because arguably to many people she's always been mid. Like there's never been a point in time to a lot of the general populace that she's ever been good. But somehow, even with that being the case of her like quote unquote always being mid, her music has gotten worse just in the last like few drops, in the last few releases. It's like she had passable records. Like, let's get that off. Like, she's had passable records. She's had Barbie World. She had Princess Diana. She had In Her Mood. She had Deli. Those records, while that doesn't showcase like any lyrical like intelligence or anything like that, they were passable. They were doable. But yet somehow she's gotten more mid in the last few months. Like, girl, what? You already weren't that great, but to get worse in the last couple of song releases is crazy. It's a mess. Also, Normani love her down. Please. Normani Sands might come for me, girl. Anyway, look, she's just like compared to the music that I've gotten from her in the past, like Motivation, Waves, like other songs that she's put out, 5-6 years ago. Great records, great tracks. The music that she's put out on her last album to me, was a mainstream commercial album. Not that great. I really loved Insomnia. I really loved Insomnia Down, like one of my favorite tracks. And then there was a couple more, but outside of like maybe 2 or 3 tracks for me, it just wasn't a memorable album. Like it wasn't god awful, like, oh, like Little Pump or something like that. Like something's just trash. No. Not trash, just mid. Just average at best or a little under average. And it's like Taylor Swift. Another example with Taylor Swift, exceptional artist. You know what I'm saying? Brilliantly talented, extremely versatile, beautiful music. Grew up listening to her, but she's getting freaking mid. Like she's getting mid. Like, and I am not of the crowd of people who feels like Taylor Swift has always been mid. There are some people who feel like Taylor Swift has like always inherently been mid, and she's always made music that's only been okay. I disagree with that. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. Like Taylor Swift has put out bangers for years, albums that have been solid, singles that have been solid. She's had a presence, and her presence has been deserved because she put out music that was impactful and actually freaking moving and good. Okay. But like lately, it's been mid. So that's why I want her to take a break from music low key so she can kind of come back, reformulate, recalculate, do whatever the fuck she needs to do so that she can put out a better quality album. You know what I'm saying? Because it's giving mid. It's giving mid to me. To me. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of mainstream music, even from the girlies that are heavy hitters, it's giving mid. Like, okay, somebody might eat me up. Nicki Minaj. I love Nicki Minaj. I love Nicki Minaj. Okay, some people might want to doubt that because people live in stan culture and they don't know how to take themselves out of that. But like, just judging from the music, like Pink Friday 2, not an awful album, not a terrible album, not like the worst album I've ever heard in my life. But in comparison to her previous work, mid to me. Like I liked Queen better than Pink Friday 2. I like the original Pink Friday better than Pink Friday 2. I like Roman Reloaded more than Pink. I've liked so many other albums. I grew up listening to Nicki Minaj. Like, hello. I know a good Nicki Minaj album. I know a good Nicki Minaj song. You feel me? And Pink Friday 2 just missed the mark for me entirely. There's way too many samples. It was way too chaotic. The production was bad for me, you know, and I'm hyper analytical when it comes to music and how it sounds in my ear sockets. Okay. And it just wasn't hitting in my ear sockets. Like it just was not hitting my ear sockets. And like, I just, there was a couple of songs that were good. There was a couple of songs that were cute, but like overall, all in all, it just wasn't hitting like that. And Nicki's a mainstream art. It has nothing to do with sales. It has nothing to do with sales or anything like that. Or like, oh my gosh, Nicki Minaj sold X amount. Girl, I'm not talking about that. I just personally didn't care for the album like that. To me, it's not one of her best albums in comparison to the discography that Nicki has. Like, it's just not. Who else? Camila Cabello. Camila Cabello. Okay, I did a review of her last album, CXOXO. Again, it's not god awful. The album wasn't like, oh my gosh, turn this off, it's awful, every song is trash. No. It was just average or a little above average, or above average, a little below average. Like it just wasn't hitting me in the ear sockets, in the cooch cooch. OG people know. OG people know. I used to say hit me in the cooch cooch real good, real hard. Anyway. But yeah, it wasn't hitting me in the cooch cooch like that. It just wasn't doing it for me in comparison to Camila Cabello's older music, like her early stages, like when she first went solo. Like, hello, we've gotten songs like Havana, Never Be the Same, and Bam Bam, and this is what her album, like, I can see why it sold the way it did, because it's not hitting, it's not having that effect. I like the Familia album, which was an underperforming non-mainstream album, better than her last project in its entirety. Like, me and my man were in the car today, actually. Well, it might not be today when I release this video, but you know, whatever. Me and my man were in the car and we were talking, and I was playing a Camila Cabello song, and it was like an old song. I think it was My Oh My, featuring the baby. It was a decent record. And I'm sitting up here bopping. He has bopped to the song before in the past, and he's like, you know what? Like, this song is decent. It's not amazing, but it's decent. Like, the music that Camila has put out recently has been trash. I'm like, clock it. Compared to like her old music, it's not hitting. And even he, who doesn't listen to her, hasn't been listening to her, can recognize that the quality of her music has gone down, and like mainstream music in general. And I'm just like, you know what? Also, I'll let y'all know on something. My man, he gets into it with me because I make him. Because like music, female rap, pop, all of that stuff is like one of my special interests. As an autistic person, like I love music. I love, you know, like analyzing stuff or whatever. And I have him like listen to stuff and sit down. He sits down with me and we talk about music and all that stuff. Before I started making YouTube videos, he was more my outlet than, you know, you guys are now. But yeah, we'll talk about music and stuff like that. And he has a lot of opinions. So maybe one day you guys will get to virtually meet him. But anyway, he has a lot of opinions, very similar opinions to me actually, about music, and just how it's just not like mainstream music just is not hitting the way it used to. Like, you know, flashback to, you know, 7 to 10 years ago. It's just not the same. And it's coming from artists who, in my opinion, who have made stellar music in the past, but it's just kind of falling flat in recent years to me. Like with music, like every time I get ready to show my man like a new song, I'm like, oh my gosh, so and so just dropped a new song, like, and I put it on YouTube or I put it on Spotify. It's like, oh my gosh, this is trash. It's been months of me showing him new music, mainstream, and he's like, what the heck is this? He's like, what is this? And I'm just like, he hasn't been excited for a new song that I've shown him in so long because the music just isn't hitting like it used to. Like I just showed him Woman's World by Katy Perry, and he's like, this isn't awful, but it's kind of boring and average. And I'm like, you're correct. You're so correct. And I love Katy down, but you're so correct. I'm hoping that her album is better because there are actually some snippets that she's put out recently that are really good. You know what? Let me put them in this video. Actually, I'm gonna find them really quick. BRB.
Put up with this one. I love you for life.
Okay, so I'm not gonna play the full version of that because I don't know if it's copywritten, but just what I have heard of that record on Twitter and on the interview that's from is really good. I really like it a lot. But as we do know, Katy's in hot water right now. Twitter's on fire. People are not feeling it, and I feel like they're gonna make, this era of Katy's crash and burn because of the Dr. Luke thing. It's really bad. Like Twitter is like really bad, and Katy hasn't come out saying it. It's so bad. I already made a video about it, but like since I've opened Twitter, since I made that video, it's gotten worse. It's circulated super bad. And not to say that I don't understand why. Like I get why. Do I have personal stakes about it? No, because I just don't personally get personally attached to almost any controversy that happens with celebrities. But I do understand as to what the issue is, and I'm like, oh, this is not good. But anyway, that aside, that snippet, okay, is fire. But the last song she dropped was not. So I'm just like, mainstream music is just like, And the heavy hitters who have been making music that has been impactful, just like, in my opinion, like haven't been hitting like that lately. Like everybody just hasn't been hitting like that, with the exception of, like I said, a couple of mainstream artists that are still putting out music, in my opinion, that's quality and is really good. But it's fewer and farther in between these days. But okay, y'all, that's it for my ramble, like talk about music and rag on music and like how dissatisfied I am with it a lot of the time. That is the end of this rant. Thank y'all for listening to me babbling, rabbling, mabbling, cadabble, and like yap and all of that. I really like doing it, and I'm glad that I have an audience of people who actually like to listen to me talk and just kind of carry on without anything serious. I really love doing it. It's a vent thing for me too. So I love you guys to death so much, and I hope you subscribe if you haven't already, and I will talk to you in the next one.